Hi, how are you guys? Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to talk a little bit about buying a home and if you're actually ready to buy a home. My name is Leanne Mitchell, and I work for Veritex Community Bank in the mortgage department. I have been in the mortgage industry for over 35 years, pretty much all I've ever done my whole life. I really enjoy helping people get into a home and tailoring needs for them to do that. So just got a little brief presentation here to talk about kind of getting you ready to buy a home, and is it time for you to buy a home, and kind of some steps to get you ready to be at that point. So home ownership, as the slide says, remains the #1 way to build wealth for future generations. And it's an excellent asset. It builds capital, you build equity into your home, and upon selling or upon buying another one, it's a great way to accumulate some wealth. So before starting this journey, there are several questions that you need to ask yourself. I mean, am I going to stay put for approximately 5 years or so? Because the cost to do these things and to purchase a home sometimes can be kind of steep. So you want to make sure, I mean, am I going to actually stay there long enough to get the benefit of owning a home? And also, do I want the responsibility of maintaining a piece of property? There does come responsibilities with that. And also, do I have enough money saved in case of an emergency? You know, the rule of thumb is to always have approximately 6 months worth of house payments saved up in order to prevent any type of emergency situation. So you have that money available to be able to pay your mortgage payment and other bills as well. One of the biggest things in our industry today is credit. Your credit score, I'm sure you guys are hearing that quite often. It's extremely important to know what your credit is, and kind of maybe as far as Credit Karma and some of those other things, they're honestly not the best source to kind of look at your credit. But a lot of times your bank or some of your major credit cards allow you to watch those credit scores. And I would kind of get that in order to, before you even start this journey. And also analyze, I mean, how much debt do I already have? Am I right out of college? Have I accumulated a lot of student loan debt? Do I have a car payment that I still need to pay on? I mean, kind of just write it all down and get yourself a budget. That way you kind of know what your monthly outlays are going to be before you kind of get started. So the advantages of home ownership, honestly, there's lots of advantages. There's a sense of pride in owning your own home. You're building some equity into that piece of property that you can use. Stability, you set down roots in your neighborhood. You get to know your community. You build a family, you raise your kids, you send your kids to school. And I mean, some of the best friends that I have are from when, my husband and I had our kids in a neighborhood, and those friends are lifelong friends that you've set down roots. It gives you, what your house payment is every month. You're not constantly changing like if you were in a rental situation where the landlord could potentially change your rental rate on you. So the main thing is just a sense of stability, and like it says here, an increased sense of community, that you belong to that community. And I think that's the actual best, the best thing about owning a home. But some of the limitations of home ownership can be some of the cost involved. You've got some upfront costs, such as your down payment. You've got closing costs. And then you've also got some taxes and insurance you'll have to pay. And also, you'll have to pay for some inspections. You'll have to pay to move. Those are always expensive. And utility deposits, all kinds of things. So you really do need to kind of decide, these upfront costs, do you have those options saved up? And or are you going to be, kind of a little short in that department? There's always ongoing maintenance and repair costs with any home. I mean, I'm sitting here with my own home going through our recent freeze as of February, and it's an ongoing battle. So you have to really be prepared for that, and have that little savings emergency fund there just in case you do have some repairs and some just regular maintenance that has to be done on your home. When you live in an apartment or some type of townhome community, you might be giving up some of your pool or your gym or some of those things. And you kind of might need to consider that when you're buying a home. Although most of your, your planned communities in the Texas area do kind of have tennis courts and swimming pools and sometimes gyms in the neighborhood. So I, just look at that when you're out looking. And also to this next bullet point, housing market fluctuations, that is absolutely, I've never in my 35 years seen it. So the market's so crazy. Here in the Houston area, the inventory, according to the Realtor Association here, was down 53% from last year. So what that tells you is there is a very few houses on the market for a lot of buyers out there trying to buy these houses. So you really kind of have to kind of have your ducks in a row and be ready to be prepared for these fluctuations. And then the last bullet point is about less mobility, which that kind of just goes hand in hand into the average time it's going to take you to recoup your upfront cost of buying that home. So those are just some of the limitations of the ownership. And then you've always got responsibilities. Honestly, you have responsibilities for anything that you have or own, your car, your house, your kids, your job. It all comes with responsibility. Like I said before, there's always going to be some unexpected, repairs, nothing crazy, but there's little things that are always going to go wrong in your home. And just, you want to continue to maintain that. We do have some crazy Texas weather with our heating and air conditioning systems. Preventative maintenance on those is always a plus. Your mortgage payment typically consists of your property taxes and your insurance. Now, your payment, we can't really control what your taxes and or your insurance is, but your actual principal and interest portion of that payment will remain the same, and then your taxes and insurance could change yearly. You are responsible for shopping for your own homeowner's insurance, so you can help control that particular piece of the puzzle. Also, a lot of areas have what's called HOA dues, and those are homeowners association dues. Those pay for your amenities in your subdivision, typically the lights in the subdivision, potentially being patrolled by security, or also there's tennis courts, there's pools and other amenities that potentially are in that community. You might also have private mortgage insurance, and that is insurance that's required unless you have at least 20% down. So those are some of the responsibilities of ownership. Now, your upfront costs that you need to prepare for are several different categories. You will have your down payment. That's category 1. You will have your closing cost. You will have inspections, including appraisals and and then you will also have to have some money in reserves. We typically like to have 2 months payments reserved that we show just in your assets to be able to close. The other area is moving costs. Moving is extremely expensive, so you want to be prepared for that. And then you also want to prepare for some potential utility deposits, like your gas, your water, your electricity, your cable. If you didn't have those or weren't required to pay for those in your landlord, then those would be your responsibility to set up those. Your purchasing power. I just want to touch just a little bit. It's not off topic, but it's not on this screen. It's incredibly important, guys, to work with a lender. Um, we want to make sure that you're in the particular product that you are qualified for, and that kind of ties in with this purchasing power. Let us get you pre-approved. Let us talk through what's best specifically for you and your family's needs. These realtors today, they're wanting these pre-approval letters, and it's incredibly important to take the time to speak to one of us lenders. So this is a general rule of thumb when it comes to payments. So there's what we call a top ratio and a bottom ratio. That top ratio is specifically your house payment. So your total house payment, meaning your principal, insurance, taxes, insurance, and any homeowner's dues, divided into your gross monthly income should not exceed 28 to 30%. So it's about a third of your house payment towards your gross income. And then we take that payment plus any other monthly obligations that you have, such as car payment, credit card debt, student loan debt. That total divided into your gross income is what's known as your debt to income ratio, or we call it DTI. Everything's an acronym in our industry. That really should stick to close to 43. Some of our products, FHA and VA, do allow for a little bit more leniency with those ratios, but your lender, like I said, will be able to tailor your mortgage specifically to your needs. And then honestly, if you're a paycheck to paycheck kind of person, or you're trying to build savings, I don't know. I definitely think you should have a good 6 months of potential reserves in your budget, and don't just look at your bank account and go, well, I have enough to go to closing. Well, do you have enough to go to closing and then potentially pair for some emergencies? Those are definitely things to consider. And do your research. Another piece of advice that I think is critical is find a good realtor. They know your market. They know what you're looking for. They're going to know when homes are available in your area that you're looking for. And I highly encourage you to get a good realtor and a good lender. That's what we do, and that's what our area of expertise is. And so I do encourage you to do your research with the lender as well as the realtor. And so where do I start? Educate yourself. Dallas Habitat, who's our gracious host, has a lot of online home buyer and financial education for everybody. There is a lot of products out there to deal with down payment assistance, and the home buyer and home ownership counseling. Those are products you can get on the Dallas Habitat, or several. Here in Houston, we have them as well. Some of them are free, some of them cost, but I think it's really worth it. It's going to open your eyes to a lot of things that you probably did not consider. And kind of just sit down and analyze your budget. I mean, I like to get a piece of paper out. I'm a good old paper person. And kind of put your wants and your needs, make columns, analyze. I mean, is buying a home with a pool, for instance, going to be something that I'm going to really want to do? Or is that something that, maybe I don't need that pool? What neighborhood do I want to live in? Are schools important to my children? There's all kinds of questions that you need to consider. And like I kind of said earlier on, meet with us, meet with a loan officer for pre-qualification. And guys, I do want to also say, be transparent with your loan officer. I've been doing this long enough. I've seen, I would say, every single situation and or question or concern come my way. And just be transparent, because if we know what's going on in your background, we can help you. If there are some credit issues, we have some incredible partners that we work for to help you get your credit to where you need to be. And that's what we're here for. So definitely get that pre-approval letter, be armed, ready. That realtor will want that. You've got to stay competitive. You've got to stand out to get your offer accepted in this market. And also find a good realtor. Ask your friends, ask your family. Also, I think as far as realtors, if there's a particular area that you're in, I bet you're going to see the same 2 or 3 realtors in that neighborhood over and over and over again, which means they're very qualified to talk to you about those neighborhoods that you're looking at. But we look forward to helping you, and my information is available there online, my email, my phone. I'd love to help you guys in any way. And I think we have some time for some questions and answers. Yeah, be sure to check out, I believe that the Dallas Area Habitat does have some of their, home buyer workshops on there, and you can sign up for those online. So that way you can get better armed and qualified. But yeah, it's a great time to buy a home, especially in the summer months, because then you can get yourself situated and in your home before the school year starts, and kind of get your roots started so you're able to kind of find a new home. But like I said, feel free to reach out to me. We do offer, this is a very overviewed, brief guide to kind of buying a home. So there's multiple kinds of products out there depending on your needs. I think I touched on it just slightly with regards to FHA, VA. We also have multiple first-time home buyer products that are out there based on various things. But let's see, I think we have a question. How much on top of your mortgage payment should be budgeted as a safety net? I would, with your principal, interest, taxes, insurance, always make sure you also have your utilities kind of factored in there. And then I would probably have another couple of $100 a month on there just for emergency purposes in case you have some issues that come up along the way. That's just how I do my budgeting for my home. Do you help increase your credit scores? Absolutely. We have some great partners that will work with you to get those scores where you need them to be. That's something that we do. That is definitely a resource. So definitely, if you have some credit concerns, I would address that right off the bat with your lender and let them start to help you get those scores where they need to be. Another great question: is it good to add your spouse's income even if he has a background? Well, it kind of depends upon what his background is. But in the state of Texas, if it is your primary residence, we do require that the spouse, either the wife or the husband, be on the deed of trust anyway. But it just depends upon what those issues are. If it is a credit issue, then and you don't need that income to qualify, then I would probably not put them on there, especially if the income is not needed. But those are just unique individual questions that you just get it out there with your lender and be honest and transparent with them. How do you go about interviewing realtors and lenders? I honestly think the best way is friends and family. Most of your church family or something like that. All of us kind of know someone that's a realtor or potentially a loan officer. I think you should probably talk to approximately 3 lenders. I wouldn't call 10 or 12 of us, because at the end of the day, we're all very similar in what we have to offer you guys. And honestly, pricing is also very, very similar. I think it's a relationship. I've always thought this business was relationship. And if you click with somebody and you have that honest, transparent conversation, to me, that's your goal, is to get that. Let's see, it's my goal to own land and to loop your home. Actually, yes, we here at Veritex Bank, a lot of our wheelhouse is what we call our one-time close product. We also have lot loans here. So you can actually go buy a piece of land and then build your dream home on it. Those are all, and you don't know if there's no real time frame to that. We have a lot of people that buy and then don't build for a while. I mean, that's going to be all timing and how you want to do that. The do's and the don'ts. There's really no necessarily do's and don'ts with that. You're going to have different down payment requirements when it comes to purchasing land, and also when it comes to the one-time close. But when you go to build, your lot will have equity already built into it. So that's always very helpful when it comes to analyzing your down payment. Those are kind of specific things. If one of you all has a question about one-time close and things like that, I'd be happy to further discuss that with you guys. Oh, great question. Can my husband still apply if he has no social? Unfortunately, we do require that you have a social security number. We do permanent resident aliens, but we don't necessarily have it. You must have a social security number and also be paying taxes in the United States as well. There are some what we call foreign national products out there, but those are going to be kind of few and far between, and those would be up for further discussion. How to go about buying and building later. That's what kind of we were talking about. You can actually go buy a piece of land and buy later. And like I said, there's no time frame for that. And that lot, the longer you have it, is going to continue to build up equity. And we do require that you have, and most of us lenders do, a reputable contractor. You can't have what I call multiple contractors that you have building that home for you. It does need to be an actual general contractor or a builder that does that, because we do some backgrounds on those builders, and so that's what I would encourage you to do with that. Manufactured homes. Unfortunately, we here at Veritex Bank do not offer manufactured housing. There are lenders, and there's probably quite a few lenders that will do manufactured homes if they're situated on top of a slab. FHA does those loans, and you probably will find a lot of if you're in a rural area, some of the credit unions or smaller banks are going to be able to help you with that manufactured homes. Is it better to purchase in a rural area? Well, quite frankly, I think that's personal preference. We are seeing in here, in Texas, a lot of people are moving out into the suburbs. There are some different types of products that are going to be available for those products, like that we talked about briefly. So it's just kind of your personal preference. I loan all over the country. I just did one in Hawaii. So wherever you want to buy a house, most of us lenders can help you, and we look forward to those, to your calls. What if you're going through a divorce? That's a great question. You really need to wait until you're fully finalized with your divorce decree, because what happens, like I said, in the state of Texas, if you are still married and that person could potentially have access to your home. And I don't think if you're going through a divorce, I kind of doubt that's anything that you would want. You can certainly start to get yourself pre-approved, and also, know what your budget is by yourself without your spouse's income, but definitely wait until you are fully divorced and have that executed divorce decree in front of you. What is factored into getting your mortgage payment to a monthly payment that you can afford? So what we look at is obviously your principal and interest. Your taxes are basically going to be divided into a monthly. Your real estate agent would be able to tell you what your annual taxes are. You can also look those up in your county that you're buying in's website. Those are public knowledge. It's super easy. You just click on the county website, put the address that you're looking at. Zillow also has a lot of that information in their websites. But also, what we look for is principal, interest, taxes, insurance, which you shop for that yourself. We do have some partners that we work with that also, if you don't have a good a resource for insurance, we can certainly direct you into that. And then the other thing that goes into that factor is we take that HOA, the homeowners, and we actually divide that into 12 and put that in your monthly payment. It's not literally in your monthly payment, but we do have to look at that as far as that ratio that we talked about. Oh, that's a great question. What if you're about to get married? Is it better to wait? No, not necessarily. My daughter is of the age where she and all her friends are getting married and they're all buying houses. So if you guys see something that you want and you're not quite married yet, and there's no reason to wait. I mean, you both would be potentially on the note. You both would be on the deed of trust. So you just, obviously want to make sure that both of your credit scores are good. But no, I would not necessarily wait, especially if you find something you want. I would not. The difference between a 15 and a 30. Well, a 15 years payment is going to be significantly higher than a 30 year. But I don't know if you guys are aware, there's no prepayment penalties to most mortgages out there. So you could take your 30-year mortgage and actually add some principal to that each month or even each year and kind of decrease the amortization term down closer to like a 15 or a 20-year mortgage. You can get your lender to do what's called an amortization schedule, and you can actually see how much you need to add each month to make that thing. And then for some reason, if you don't want to do that several months or for a while, you can obviously, it gives you a little bit of leverage to kind of not have to pay that 15-year. But there is a pretty significant difference in a 15-year versus a 30-year for qualifications. Did I miss any questions? I don't mean to. If I did, certainly reach out to us and ask any question. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. I appreciate it. I look forward to partnering with you guys a lot. I'm very active in the Texas market, and so I look forward to doing more of these with you guys. And feel free to reach out to me direct at any time. Thank you guys so much, and have a great rest of your conference. Thank you.